There's also the possibility of mechanical motions. You may have some equipment on site, and then you can get caught in between the motion of the equipment and a solid wall or another object. Any hazards here?
At least they braced it.
Yeah.
I've seen people working, they don't brace something like that.
He's got a hard hat on too.
Right, he has a hard hat. There you go. He's very good.
Wow.
Looks like a Type 2 hard hat too.
That's so they can find them. That's so they can find them.
Okay. Any hazard in here?
Yeah, everything is unstable.
The guy shouldn't have his company logo on his shirt.
No. It's again the possibility of getting caught between two objects. Here.
Yeah, it's missing all the guards on the pulleys.
Mm-hmm. So there's a potential of the hand or any.
And the blade doesn't have any guards. See?
Nothing. Yeah.
That's a tough
They're watching that though. They're not watching that pulley.
Nice.
Yeah. Right.
Is that ladder upside down or is it me?
Unbelievable.
It is upside down. Yeah, they wanted it to fit, so they always stuck
Like
it.
I said, they dig and beat. So they're like, I got it. We put this upside down.
Oops! There goes it. And see, look at all these
Look how close it is
rocks.
to the foundation pad of the building.
Exactly.
Also.
So that's a lot of things going wrong over there.
Nice.
Huh? You wanna put yourself in that position?
No, that's why I don't drive a truck.
Yeah, use the frames.
Yeah, this one is.
I think we've seen these pictures.
Yeah.
Here we have a
Dummy.
dummy crushed under the phone.
Now that one is good.
Yeah, that's
Imagine
interesting.
you-
That guy.
You imagine if that thing loses the ball.
Yeah.
That guy's account at the glass company's past due.
Okay. Here we have a situation with a scaffold that may not have good support. You know, that can break or fail, and then scaffold can turn on. Right, so now we'll talk a little bit about cranes. Also, these are extremely used in construction, and they also present a different set of hazards. So the safe work practices for cranes are under subpart N of the 1926 Code of Federal Regulation 29. So we have different possible accidents with cranes. Contact with power lines. I have seen that happening where you have a crane that is very close to power line, and you know, all of a sudden this starts to touch and there is contact. There will be, you know, energy going through that crane. Overturns, falls, mechanical failures. These are potential hazards with cranes. So we want to identify what are the potential hazards and try to evade them. We need to provide maintenance and check the good operating conditions of the crane before every shift, so people know how to work with them and look at the potential hazards. Some of the accidents could be instability of the load. You know, maybe the capacity of the crane has been exceeded. Could be lack of communication between the operator of the crane and personnel on site. Sometimes the operator does not have full view of where the load is going or where it's going to be sitting. Lack of training, inadequate maintenance or inspection. You know, you should never put yourself under the load of a crane, because you never know when that thing can fail and drop the load. Here we have a short video of a crane that dropped a heavy load. Huge piece, very, very heavy and expensive. This guy seems to be awfully close to that. Road. Well, it's usually said that noise is the brake, right?
No, I'm just looking at it a little fast.
He's done 100.
And look at these guys.
99, this is the 100.
Yeah.
Kind of too close. Oh, boy.
Oh my god.
I wouldn't like to be there.
Then,
Here comes Phil.
What's that thing called?
Almost done.
no, it was something that fell first. It's something that fell first.
Well, the rock, right?
Wall fell first, then all the walls.
Oh, that's the block right there.
So that's the wall there.
Something else must have fallen. Maybe a sheep or
It's a very expensive and heavy piece of equipment.
insurance.
It went pretty good. No cuss words were said.
At least the guy that was working over there got himself out of that
Yeah,
house.
he was a lucky boy.
Yeah.
Did they say what the cause of the, do you know?
No, I don't know what caused it, but man.
So you got a lot of scrap metal now.
Wow.
I would imagine it's because of the length it was moving, but I don't know if it was an overhead crane. It doesn't really show too well.
It wasn't overhead crane.
It looked like a
It was a gantry.
It looked like a game. That big yellow bar was a spreader bar, yeah.
Oh well. Another day of the job, right? Okay, so we have potential hazards, excessive speed, improper load rating, no hand signals, unguided parts, no boom angle indicator, not use of outriggers. So there are different, depending on the type of crane that you're using, you know, the hazards may be also a little bit different. The operators can be at risk of falling from the crane or getting injured by the movement of the crane. And then, of course, people who are around that crane can also be struck by or can be hit by the operation of the crane. The crane, there are different types. So they used obviously to lift heavy loads, and some of those cranes depend on they have a counterweight right on the center of gravity of that crane. So the farther away you are from the center, the less capacity you have to lift the loads. Here's a crawler crane. This is a overhead type of crane. So there are different types. Some of those are made for marine operations, so they float. Some of those are tower type that are very used in construction of tall buildings. Here's a picture of outriggers. These are designed to give additional support to the crane and increase the stability. So then the load can be, they can lift a heavier load as compared with without the outriggers. So you want to plan ahead your work around the crane, set up barricades within the swing radius of that crane, make sure that you don't have high power lines around, make sure that you don't have materials that can be stored in a place where they can be, subject to being hit by the crane. Inspect the crane, the different components, make sure it's in good, safe operating conditions before every shift. So that's a responsibility of the operator to make sure that before that crane gets started, it's in good operating conditions. Then you need to have maintenance, monthly maintenance, yearly maintenance, and keep records for them. OSHA will like to see records of your maintenance for cranes. Now, every crane will have a description and a safety sheet of what loads can be handled, what are the special requirements that you need in order to move these loads. So you need to know what is the capacity of the crane before you get into a lift. Other factors that may limit the capacity of the crane or the conditions, that's wind. It's important. If you have a very high wind, that's going to be moving the load, and you shouldn't operate the crane in those conditions. Most cranes will have a safety factor that will protect the crane. It will stop the crane if it feels has a very high wind, or if the load is being above the capacity, will also stop. So here, it's a picture that shows a graph depending on how far away you are from the center of gravity. I mean, what is the angle of the boom? You have different loads that can be handled by that same crane. So you have to be aware of these kind of capacities for the load. Here's an example. A 30-ton crane can lift 60,000 pounds at 10 feet from the center of the crane because it's very stable at that point. But when you extend the boom and then now you're 74 feet away, the capacity goes down to 4,800 pounds. I mean, it's
a lot of
really,
weight. That's a lot of arm there.
Exactly. You're extending it far away, so the momentum it's creating on the center of gravity, it's proportional to the distance to the center of gravity. So you want to be stable. You want to make sure that you're using the crane properly, because if not, it can result in a tip over. It can result in the collapse of the crane. There could be a lot of problems if you overload the crane. It's also true for the support. I mean, the soil support where you have your crane has to be able to support the crane, or it will collapse. Stay clear from power lines. It's a danger that exists. This video, it's interesting because it shows crane in contact with power line.
Like our guardrail. Just like our guardrail. It won't actually burn or anything. It won't actually burn or anything like that. Yeah, it is. Hey, Frank, the truck's moving.
It's the last two road.
Yeah, that's the problem over there. You have the power lines and the cable is touched. Oops.
he is standing there. Back down. Right out. Back down.
So you get the idea of what's going on. Very, very
Yeah, the
dangerous.
plywood for on the outriggers. They're perfect.
So you need to stay clear from power lines at least 10 feet. There's some hand signals that needs to be, standardized, so all the operators understand exactly what each one of those means. It's very hard to see here, but there's certain standard instructions to be given to the operator. Here we have moving parts that do not have guards, so you have the possibility of getting caught in that equipment. As the crane moves around, there is a possibility of hitting somebody, so you need to set a barricade around the area where the crane is moving to protect people. You want to have good visibility, so broken windows should be replaced immediately. That will reduce the effectiveness of the operation. You may have ladders and guardrails depending on the height of the crane, so that they're there to protect the operators from falling down. Never place yourself under the load of the crane. That can fail at any moment, and you don't want to be there if it does. Here's a picture of a boom angle indicator that will show you what is the angle of the crane, so you can use that table to decide if it is safe to lift the load or not. The outriggers needs to be supported, so you need to have good soil support. Make sure that will hold the weight of the crane. Here is a crane accident. You saw this video already?
Oh, I've seen it.
So here, that looks like a good support, but then look how it's starting to crack.
The guy's still standing. Oh shit. There's no button.
Easy lower
He was smart though, he turned his fucking up.
Huh?
That was just the weight.
That
When
was
he
the
went
weight.
forward, his counterweight went.
Went back.
He had that load, it was out of control.
Yeah.
That's what happened to him. He had was shock load in the crane.
So that's an example of the failing for the soil. So it's gotta be in a good, stable area. You want to look for parts that are damaged or that can potentially break as the cord used to lift the load. Here's some different type of rigging equipment that are used to lift loads with cranes. Here's a picture of a crane that wasn't properly inspected and tipped over. That's a possibility. I've seen a couple of cranes that have collapsed on the side because mostly overloading. You want to inspect the crane before it gets into operation. Make sure that you have correct air pressure and the tires, they're properly inflated, that you have clearance to work around. There is no overhead lines. Check for fluids that can, be leaking from the hydraulic system. Remove items that are broken from service. There's a rope that it's crushed that should be replaced because it can cause failure. Parts that are being worn too much should be also replaced. Check your tires and, of course, train the operators. There is a rule that will require operators to be certified in the operation of cranes starting in November. I think it's November 2014, right? Yeah. So in summary, you have unstable loads can cause problems, lack of communication, lack of training, inadequate maintenance. All of those are potential sources of accidents. Struck by or cut in between are also possibilities when working with cranes. Stay away from power lines. Plan ahead to reduce the potential accidents.